Hey friends, Chad here, Arms Way Chad. Just after I made the media post, I felt like I should talk about consuming media. Um, I have found that at least in my own life, waking up to grab my phone to see all of the news updates and to go scroll through my Facebook feed or Twitter feed or Reddit feed and to see all of this overwhelming news that I have to process immediately, right in the morning when it's most important to ground for the day. Um, so, just my own personal situation and advice. Um, Before you consume any sort of social media, before you consume any sort of news or videos, especially right now with all of the violent videos that are going around right now, to process that early in the morning when you're starting your day probably is not a good plan. Um, Mentally, emotionally, for anybody for that matter. I don't care what side of whatever fence you want to be on. Um, and so I have found that centering and grounding within myself, finding, my center, breathing techniques, helicopter, and just knowing where I am emotionally and mentally and sometimes physically, where I am at that moment. Am I prepared to consume potential information that is going to cause me to have a reaction, positive or negative? Right now, it's going to be mostly negative. But to center yourself, know where you are. Just figure out where you are. Like right now, I feel anxious. I feel depressed. I feel happy. I feel, just sad about situations. I feel my heart hurts. Whatever the feeling may be, let that guide you on how you choose to start the consumption of social media, news, and other outlets you choose to do. I like to wake up in the morning and listen to the news. Am I prepared for it all the time? No, I'm not. But it's a good place to look at yourself and go, am I prepared to consume certain information today? And if you're not, that's great. You're finding out where you are right now, and that's the best part. Is that this is personalized. It's for you to know where you are emotionally, spiritually, physically, mentally is a big deal. Um, so ask yourself before you start consuming, your social media feeds, and there's a cat. You start consuming this information. Ask where you are right now. Where am I mentally? Where am I emotionally? Where am I spiritually? Where am I physically? I mean, because we get hurt on all the spectrums or to get disrupted, if you will, on all the spectrums. So ground yourself and know where you are at that moment. And if you feel that you cannot consume one more video, one more article, one more social media post from that one person that you've just been getting at it with, that one person, that will always antagonize you, then don't consume it. You're not prepared. And I had to realize that within myself. I had to realize that, I went into arguments or debates or just kind of like, well, let's talk it out. And I was ill prepared because I wasn't prepared emotionally or mentally. I was vacant, and I was just like, I just feel like I need to go to bat or whatever. No, that is not the case. Um, yeah, so take it for what it's worth. Um, Before you choose to log in to your media accounts, to your, Pinterest is nearly vacant of a lot of stuff. So that seems to be a safe one in my book. But before you watch the news, before you listen to the radio, before you whatever, just know where you are spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally. And ask yourself, am I prepared for this? And if you are, great. If you're not, that's okay too. All right, friends? Peace out.